All right, once again, we are about to start our other final session for the Q&A. Sijui watu wanakulanga nini hapa kwa sababu 1 hour is not enough. Inaonekana ingeongeza. Tumetumia 1.5 hours. Sijui kunaendaje hapo. Lakini ni sawa, ni sawa. Chakula na tumbo usiwahi uliza mtu swali. Kila mtu ako na their own journey, si ndio? Lakini kuna kitu nimeona, kuna jamaa pale, lakini mwenzangu nilimwambia nitamuenjoy tukifika hapa. Jamaa ameanza pale sahani ile, kulikuwa na supu. Watu hawakunywi supu hapa. Sijui kwa nini. Watu wanataka tu kwenda direct kwa ile kwa samaki, sio? Hakuna kitu, hata kuna mtu anaenda direct kwa nyama kwanza, alafu arudi nyuma baadaye akiangalia nini zingine ziko hapa, Si mnajijua, Alafu anauliza hii supu ilikuwa ya nani? Sasa hiyo ashashiba, ashatoka hapo, Na sijui walisema wale Waingereza sijui unafaa kuanza na supu, si ndio starter, Hata ni starter si supu hata. Kuna ile kidogo salad kidogo, alafu ukishachukua, alafu ati unaenda unaketi, unakula salad yako. Alafu sasa unaamka, unachukua sasa supu. Sasa alafu unakunywa supu. After supu unaenda kwa yale mambo mengine makubwa. Ati after hiyo sasa ndio wanaita dessert, si ndio? Sasa kuna jamaa wangu ule alisema nisimseme jina. Yeye alichukua zote pamoja. Zote, leta hii, weka hiki kijuu. Huo labda ni Mkikuyu kama mimi, unajua? Wale ambao tunaweza kila kitu weka, hakuna haja kurudi hapa, si ndio? Safari ni moja. Twende tumalize. Ku save time, Kumbe ni wewe. Ngoja. Mtu anajisema hapa, kila kitu kwa sahani moja. Haya, nina swali, na ngoja kwa dakika moja, na ngoja watu waingie. Tafadhali kama mnanisikia njooni tafadhali. Hebu sikiza hii, mwalimu anauliza mtu taja mnyama wa majini. Mwanafunzi akamjibu samaki. Alafu mwalimu akamuuliza vizuri sasa taja wa nchi kavu mmoja. Jamaa ametoka huku akasema samaki wa kukaanga. Sasa sijui kama kuna wengine watashika baadaye. Kwanza wale wajaiona samaki sasa watashika baadaye hii. Niko na nyingine moja, mimi upendezi tabia za kuokota hizi vitu zinafurahisha tu hapa. Haya, sikiza hii sasa. Kuna mtu alimuuliza, "Rafiki umeenda gym?" Si mnajua gym ile kwenda kurukishwa sijui ama mambo gani? Ama kuinua vitu zingine, unashangaa si uende tu kainue gunia za korosho uko sawa. Lakini watu wanachukua chuma. Haya, umeenda gym? Jibu ndio hili. Ndio, nilipitia hapo nje, moyo ukaridhika. Si bado amepitia? Sawa. Niliwaambia zingine zitafurahisha zingine watu wanashangaa wanasema nini? Hamna shaka, mimi sina shaka. Haya, kitendawili. Hizo ndio mnashika, Acha nimpe ile yangu ya class 2. Ati nyumba yangu haina mlango. Yai, Sasa hiyo ni ile rahisi sana. Wacha nianze zingine. Sikia hii, Nina mdomo lakini sili, nina miguu lakini sitembei. Unaona sasa? Lakini labda nikisema kwa gunia moja ya korosho watu watapata jibu. Angalia. Hiyo ni ngumu, Na sijui kwa nini walitupatia jibu. Hebu sikiza jibu. Mto river, unaona? Sasa sijui inakujaje. Wacha nimpatie nyingine moja. Kitendawili, anapanda bila miguu, anashuka bila kuchoka. Nakuwa nyinyi mko mnapenda baba. Unajua baba alikuwa mtu wa vitendawili bana. Ni jua. Kuna mtu amesema jua. Ndio hilo, nani huyo nimpatie? Sasa ujisemi. Ati korosho, ngoja. Tusiende pale. Mtu anauliza tu korosho pale. Usikimbie sana, Usikimbie sana. Haya, kuna nyingine moja lakini hii ni joke kidogo. Ati please tell me the only woman who gives a man money with a smile on her face. Huo ni nani? The only woman who gives money to a man with a smile. Huo ni nani? No, a woman. ATM si woman. Ni mgani huyo? Ni teller kwa bank, wengine wote kupatia mwanaume pesa hakuna kucheka. Hapo umejaribu, hakukuwa na zawadi. Wewe unapenda zawadi kila saa na umekula. Ati mama anakupa na kucheka lakini kwa bank peke yake. Labda kama ni mtoto wake atacheka, si ndio? Lakini mwanamume mwenzako ambaye ako na misuli, wacha tuendelee. La mwisho niko na sekunde 30. Mmefika watu? Ndio hawa wamefika, sawa, tulikuwa tunawangoja. La mwisho nisome nyingine moja tu pale, ile tu ya vitu zinanifurahishanga tu kidogo tu hapa. Ati kuna wale watu ambao wakati kunywa chai hawanywi maziwa, hawanywi sukari. Sasa mtu akajiuliza, mbona basi wasitafune kile kijibegi cha chai? Tuko pamoja? Si utafune tu, kama unywi sukari, kama unywi maziwa. La mwisho, ati leo nimeamka zangu asubuhi nikawa nafanya mazoezi ya kukimbia. Sijui kama huku watu wanafanya hivyo. Nikakumbuka Mathayo 2:4 inasema waovu watakimbia bila kukimbizwa. Nikarudi zangu kulala. Haya, so wenzetu naona tuko tayari. Let's go to our quick answers questions. One of the questions was from One Acre Fund, right? That's the gentleman there. And he asked the question of how can we make farmers work together, right? That was how can we make farmers work together? Maybe you could have an answer to that, right? Haya, finya hiyo kidude kidogo, ikiwaka ujue uko sawa. Microphones please, let them be set. Imewaka? Sawa. Finya gonga kidogo nisikie. Iko sawa sasa. So how can we make farmers work together? Twende.
Thank you so much. Nimepatiwa dakika moja.
Hata si dakika, ni sekunde. Twende lakini.
Sekunde, asante. So from One Acre Fund, nataka kupatia experience yangu. Afa waliniambia nikusanyishe farmers from Kilifi na Kwale. I was able to bring together 145 people who are within the value chain ya korosho. Some of them were farmers. Tukasema haya, tutengenezeni group ili tusonge. In fact, the idea was to form a CBO, community-based organization. Out of the 145, 45 peke yake ndio wako na 48 walikuwa na simu. Out of 48, 25 wako na simu ambayo ni smartphone. And out of that, only 7 ukituma message respond. Even for this conference, there are about less than 10 people wale nimeng'ang'ana waweze kuja hapa. So kuna changamoto kubwa sana ndugu yangu. Let us work together. One of the things we've noticed is that kuita tu mtu kule mashinani kuja kutana na wewe bila ya kumpatia kitu itakuwa ni ngumu. Kwa hivyo lazima utengeneze kikao ili anajua transport itakuwa, kwa sababu kutoka kwake anatumia boda akuje hivi, ama the other solution is tutoke tuende kwao kule mashinani ndio tutakutana nao. It has been a huge challenge.
Okay,
sababu,
so maybe just to help him, do you have a contact list, for example, that he could come with you and you connect him so that when he wants the farmers, because he's a man who could give them more access. Do you have such?
I have a contact.
So I have connected you to him, eh?
Yes.
So right away, that's how we solve these things. We're here in a conference to solve these things. Na kama kuna mtu mwingine hapa, who else has a lot of contacts of farmers here? Tafadhali kama uko hapa, make sure you see that young man. There you go. Ebu simama ndio wakuone. Ndio huyo, huyo jamaa.
Yes.
Asante. Then we shall be able to do that. Thank you so much. Make sure you see him on that. So there was another question. What was the other question? There was another question from a certain Namgani huyo. Oh, it was not a question. It was a point. Sindio? He gave just a suggestion, which was good. But there's another question here from this gentleman. Yes, what was your question? Go ahead.
Good afternoon. Mimi naitwa Zani, ni mkaji hapa Kwale, ni community mobilizer na ni leader pia. Nimefurahi mmezungumza habari ya aggregators, yeah? But I didn't hear you talking about off-takers. Kwa sababu mara nyingi wale off-takers ni kama wale upande wa mahindi, National Cereal and Produce Board, yeah? Sasa sijui kama wale wako hapa kwa sababu wale ndio ukiwapelekea sisi tukikuwa tunawapelekea korosho zetu tunalipwa pale pale. Kwa sababu ile shida iliyo hapa, ukisikia ndugu zangu tunauza miti yetu kama firewood ama makaa, ni kwa sababu hatuna pesa mfukoni. Mtu anakuambia hizo korosho zako enda ukaushe, ufanye nini ndio ulete factory ndio ulipwe pesa. Lakini sasa tuko na njaa, tunataka pesa pale pale. So without having off takers, mmetuacha tukiuza miti yetu. Alafu hapo sasa kuna wengine wametoa suggestions kama for example having cooperative movements, yeah? whether it's cooperative movements or private entities, yeah, at the end of the day, the biggest problem now for them becomes the financial muscle. Yeah, nimeona banks hapa, lakini jana pale nilisikia mwenzangu akisema ukienda pale peke yako hawakujui. So as nuts, kwanza nafurahi vile mmeanza kiwanda kule Kilifi na mmekuja pake huku kututafuta, lakini as nuts and more, yeah, do you get involved in negotiations with these banks, some sort of guarantees so that they can actually give money? Of course, it's got to be conditional, yeah, to either the cooperatives or the off-takers who are interested in bridging that gap in your supply chain. Asante.
So aggregators. I don't know who can comment on aggregators so that at least we can close on it. Off-takers, sorry. Yes, off-takers. Anybody with a comment on that? Just trying to
Maybe
see.
not.
Chair? Okay, yeah. Yes.
Tutarudi pale tu.
Yeah, but you go ahead. Huyu amesoma.
Yes.
Mpe kizungu.
So
Go ahead.
So I think the biggest challenge is quantities. The moment we have quantities and the volumes, the off-takers will be there. And the challenges we've been discussing, support from the government, just making sure that the information is there. Because I think one of the presentations tumekuwa nayo leo, they were saying that information is not there. So the moment the aggregators are informed, it will be possible to link with the off-takers. But off-take is there. The biggest challenge we have is we've been saying that we atuna korosho Kenya. And most of the processors that are here will confess that much of our korosho comes from Tanzania. We need to move away from that, and we encourage our aggregators and our farmers.
All right.
But off-taking is there.
Okay. Thank you so much. I have a question for you. How have you been able to mobilize farmers? Because you use their product a lot, and I wanted that to help the 1 Acre Fund as well. Do you have like a contact list or something? How do you mobilize them so that also 1 Acre Fund can learn from you? Yes. Yeah, it's good.
Thank you so much. For us, in terms of mobilizing farmers, we started actually differently in terms of capacity building, because we did our own survey of about 600 farmers at first. And what we realized is that we were putting the number of trees in every farmer and the kind of production that they get. And then we realized that most of them, as much as they had the cashew trees, it was very difficult. So we started an initiative where some farmers were doing pruning of the old trees, but then again, there are costs to it. You can't do it alone as a private, as an SME, saying that you're going to help farmers prune their trees was something else. So for us, we still do capacity building to just let them know that there's this new tree that can give them production in 2.5 years.
Excellent.
But one thing I wanted to say, in this group, I can see some women processors in the group. And for us, they've been an integral part in terms of trying to see how can they do. When you walk around these villages especially for me, I come from Matuga, you will find that, like for example, I see a chair lady of a small processor. The small cottage industries that we are saying.
Yes.
But they don't have capacity of the same cashews, but they can be able to process from their own cottage level.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Now, as I'm about to close on this, there was one question online on the Slido. It will be a disservice if I don't read it, and then we can close on this session. And asanteni sana kwa kuja nyi wote. I can see that we are all there. This question is loading right here. Was quite detailed. This is the question. I'm just reading it out right now. Yes. What platforms do county governments, is that the question? No, it wasn't that one. I don't know where you sent that one because it's not here now. It has disappeared. But you can ask it. I think I know the person who asked. Kwa sababu nikikula lunch wameamua wasinipatie amani. Uliza swali direct.
Thank you very much. I've heard processors talk of quality, volume, what else? Quantity, which is okay. And all this comes from farmers, okay? What I haven't heard is what investment are they also putting on extension to allow farmers to supply this?
Now, do you have someone you'd like to answer that question? Because it must have come from someone speaking. But you have the power. This is where Yeah, anybody who wants to answer him? Yeah, go ahead. Just make sure the mic is on, and I'll pass him a mic that is working.
Hello.
Yeah, there you go. Use that.
Hello.
Yeah. Is that one on?
Hello.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, we as Nuts and More, we are also supporting farmers on various levels. We are also bringing the international investor to support the farmers, but through trainings, through providing seedlings, by providing the spraying exercise. So those efforts were done, but the only thing which is coming is you cannot do repetitive, it's costly. And the farmers are too many. We have registered around 12,500 farmers with us, with complete database as to the number of trees, the fields, geo stations and all those things. How many trees, which farmer, what ID, all those things we have accumulated. And we are also doing, but it takes time. And you cannot do at such a level. And that's where government intervention is needed. Private investor cannot also do to that level when he's already struggling on the collection. And he's only running a factory for 6 months, which can run for 12 months, 2 shifts.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for that. Allow me to close this panel, Chair, with your permission, and I will want to start from that end. Your final 30-second, what do you want these people to know today? You know, from that entire session, what do you want them to know? You have 30 seconds now. Let's go.
Wakulima, stakeholders, tuchukue jukumu kurudisha mkorosho kwa sababu ndio mabadiliko yetu kiuchumi. Hakuna mtu atatoka Rift Valley, atatoka wapi, aseme wa Pwani tumekuja tumewaletea nyinyi korosho. Ni wakulima, tubadilishe mawazo yetu. Miaka mitatu ijayo, we need to get those numbers from Nuts and More talking of a different picture from what we can do. I, as a Kwale resident myself, I vow to say, let's walk together in this journey. Turudishe tena hadhi ya mkorosho Pwani.
Thank you so much. Hey, wow, that was powerful. Rain, please, what would you like them to know?
So thank you very much. So for my presentation, 3 things I want to leave with you. And then the first one, I talk about growing of production. So we need to really make sure that we grow our production. The second one is to support processing. So we need to support processing and also local consumption. And then the third one will be on strengthening capacity. So we need to build capacity. And then also as an advocate on policies, I think we also need to look at sector analysis as a country. We need to also look at stakeholders mapping. Let's map our stakeholders. Let's look at them. Let's identify them and know who is there in the sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that. Yes.
Okay,
Please go
for
ahead.
me,
Yeah.
without the farmers, we will not be talking about korosho. Si kila kitu inatoka kwa mkulima.
Yes.
Vile mwenzangu amesema hapo awali, hebu tuunganeni watu wa Kilifi, watu wa Taita Taveta, all the counties that are doing cashew nuts, please let's come together. Whether uko na simu, hauna simu, I am available. Kwa sababu AFA waliniambia ni kutane na watu mashinani. Ya pili, tumeelewana kuwa quality starts from the soil. So usiwache tu mkorosho wako ati saa harvesting ndio unatafuta pesa, au pia wanatafuta quality. So how you treat your soil, how you treat the tree is what matters.
Excellent.
Alafu ya tatu, tukiungana vile ndugu yangu amesema through cooperatives ama community based organizations, tutakuwa na nguvu na korosho yetu itatoka from 70 to 150.
All right.
Sawa sawa?
Yeah.
Asante.
Asante sana. Thank you so much. Your last words.
All right. I think stakeholders, kila mtu ana jukumu. We all have a role to play. Whatever you're doing, being a farmer, a processor, an off-taker, we all have a role to play.
Good.
And it is us to bring back this sector. Kufa, it is us, what we do now is what determines how we proceed from here. For AFA, thank you very much for taking this initiative to bring us on the table. Let this conversation continue.
Excellent.
The problem is if we let it die at this point, we'll be doing a disservice. Let us for AFA and the government, let us make sure that the conversation from here goes ahead. Sani.
Thank you so much. Yes, your last words, please.
I will say we have to build trust between all the stakeholders and be transparent to each other. Every party needs to make money. And if we are not transparent enough, then somebody will make, but the other is losing. And if anybody of the whole chain is losing, the industry is going to go down.
You're
So
right.
we have to take care of each other and build the trust between each other and move on with transparency.
Wow, thank you so much. Finally, let's have your last word.
Yes. Actually, cashew nut, another name is a cash crop. It's a cash crop if you do correctly. And then one of the key agro business for Kenya is cashew nut. And then global demand every year 6 to 7% is increasing. Okay, so we have a huge opportunity. How we are using is very, very important. And also, he mentioned about how the quality of the RCN can improve, right? We have a complete data. We do a lot of data analysis. Each region, Kilifi, what is the K or kernel outwritten? We have the data. Kwale, what is that? Lamu, what is that? We have a database we created for all the 3 years. If any improvement, we can share. So we are the right door. Whatever you want to ask, we will give the data. We are very transparent, okay? And then we are very modern technology we are using. And then we know we only doing 2,000 metric ton per annum. Our capacity is 7,000 for one shift. We still have 3 shifts. So if the crop is growing better, Kenya will be one of the major competitor. Our neighbor country, Tanzania, is doing very good job in cashew nut. Na? They are the king cashew nut. We no need to do too much analysis on Kenya. We need to see the global. What are the improvement they done?
Yeah.
Professor clearly tell, a few years before, they are in our stage, right? Now they are modernized. So we just need to get the good point, what we need to be done.
Yeah.
There is a direction there. We just need to follow the direction.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Chair, because you gave me the permission, please kindly stand, walk one step forward. We want to take a quick picture just to appreciate that you were here, and then we can close. So Chair, you will also join them as well. Thank you so much for that. But I am very sure that Tanzania tunaweza wakanyaga. Professor, umesikia hiyo maneno? Hata ananiangalia tu akicheka kwa sababu anasema since all the yeah. Everything is possible. Everything is possible. If Professor can say that, don't look at me. Look at the cameraman. 3, 2, 1, go. There you go. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. You can take your seats. Asante. Makofi tafadhali kwa a round of applause, please. There you go. Our traditional dancers said people who eat too much fish must shake it a bit. So I don't know what they had planned. I don't know, and I hope they can hear me. Can you hear me, guys? Please come in. Come in now. Come in now. If they can come in now so that they can do their thing. In the meantime, can I have that slide on where they can get the presentation up? It's already there. So if you want these presentations, kuna watu wanashinda wakiniuliza, nitapata wapi hizi presentations? Ndio hii hapa Ndio hii hapa Haya, njooni tafadhali haraka tafadhali ndio tuweze kuendelea. Please come in very fast. Na msitupeleke mbio sana, tumeshiba unajua. Haya, njooni tafadhali ndio tuweze kuendelea haraka kidogo. Sawa. Haya. In the meantime, feel free to engage and see where you can get those presentations as we do this. Then we're able to fly in and do that. Haya, let's have. Sawa. Thank you so much. Over to you, please. Very fast. Can we have this run very fast? Quick 5 minutes, and then we can get started to a final session of the day. Tafadhali. Majamaa naomba.
amakazi moto lagana nani nino kalamati yangu embapi maherongorongo amakazi moto agana nani mino yere mati yangu mbapi maherongwerongwe ayawe gadewe wayo ngete mbengoma ayawe wajamiwe ngete mbengoma kanga kala levi mayo amarwa kango amarwa siyaram kanga kala levi mayo siyanyo aram kanga kala levi mayo siyanyo amarwa siyaram kanga kala levi mayo siyanyo ayumbe sambalani ayo sumira kanga ayo divyo kanga sambalani ayo sumira kanga sambalani ayo sumira kanga ayo divyo kanga sambalani ayo sumira kanga divyo kanga sambalani sumira kanga divyo kanga sambalani ajamiyo
Haya, kila mtu simama, kidogo tu. Haya, twende, tuonyeshe. Fanya hivi bana. Kasirika. Haya, asante sana. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Haya, kuna mtu pale karibu atapike. Unajua ni after lunch eh? Haya, sawa. Thank you so much. Hao watu sijui kama walikuwa wamekula kwanza ama sasa ndio saa. Haya. All the best. Thank you so much. Mimi nimejaribu kidogo, nimeanza kuhema. Haya, tufanye hivi basi. Nataka tafadhali we appreciate Equity Bank kwa makofi. Makofi tafadhali kwao. Hao watu wamekuja wakasema farmers must be educated, and we have in the house one of the representatives. If you could kindly make it right now to this stage so that you can come and speak to us kidogo, dakika 2-3. They tell us about equity kidogo. Kwa hivyo naomba tafadhali Bwana Bernard Ogala aje hapa asalimu watu na aeleze watu ambao si members, labda kuna nafasi. Karibu sana. Welcome sir.
Yes. Good afternoon everyone. Habari zenu. Wakulima and other stakeholders in cashew nut value chain. I would like to say that we are very, very happy and glad to be here today and to interact and have a discussion on how we can support this value chain. My name is Bernard Ogala, as you've been told, from a department called Food and Agriculture, based in Nairobi head office. I support agriculture business, specifically horticulture business, and also cashew nut and other nuts. So as I said, I'm happy to be here today. And I have my colleagues before I continue. And I would like to invite my colleague who heads the manufacturing sector to join us. And also, I have a team from the branch. Actually, we've come here to support the branch. So I have a branch manager. Our branch manager is here. If she's around, maybe also she can join us. Anaweza kuja. Rebecca? As they come, let me hand it over to my colleague, ili pia wasalimia. Asanteni.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon again. We are attentive, eh? You know, we just come from lunch, but it's we are glad to be here as Equity Bank to come and share this moment with you and also, you know, showcase what we are doing and how we can support our farmers. Before we proceed, maybe we'll just give a very quick chance to our team to give you a very quick intro. This is the team that we have on the ground here we can work with on a day-to-day basis. So it's good for you to know who is here today. But my name is Ashford Karoga. I look after the manufacturing department, which actually comes after the agri. We look at but we'll share more about that later. We have, or the bank has aligned itself in such a way that it's able to support the value chains that we're looking at from the agri side and also from the value addition. So, Rebecca, let me give you an opportunity to introduce the team.
Thank you. Habari zenu. Good afternoon. Aki msikae kama mmechoka sana. Ni kushiba. Okay, for the sake of those people who have come from Nairobi, wasione kama tukikula ni kama huwa tunalala. Huwa hatulali by the way. Tukitoka lunch huwa tunaenda shambani. So kindly just encourage my team. My name is Rebecca. I'm the branch manager, Ukuda branch Equity, and we are happy to be here. So this is my team. Because of time, I think I can just introduce them. This is Richard. Richard is in charge of insurance. So because I know at one point, tutakuwa tunahitaji insurance ya hizi cashew nuts zetu, si ndio? And even for the factories, because we are going to build factories, so he's the one in charge of it. We have Sharon Awol. Sharon is in charge of SME. So because cashew nut now, we are saying in cost, it will not just be something. Si tumeambiwa tutalima kabisa. So she's the one, in fact, if you want to buy a vehicle, ya kubeba hizo cashew nuts, she's the one to see. That is Isaac. Isaac is in charge of FinServe, anything to do with digital. Nowadays, we don't expect a lot of customers to come to the branch to do any transaction. He is in charge of digital in the region. So he is based in Mombasa. We have Doston. And very soon, Watu wa Cashew nuts will be exporting, true or false. So he is the one who deals with Forex. So if you want to exchange dollars, Kenya shillings, he is the one in charge in the whole of Coast region. So he also sits in the region office in Mombasa. So you can see tumejitolea. So mimi ndiye niko kwa ground with these two. Kuna wengine wako kwa tent. So in case of anything, kindly you can just check us kwa branch ama hapa kwa tent for the 2 days that we are here. Nimefurahi kuwaona. Asante.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rebecca. You can see we have a full team on the ground. We are here. We are Farmers Bank. We support farmers. That's what we've been known for, retail and SME, and that's what we uphold. And we'll be very happy to ensure we support you and we partner with you on the cashew nut ecosystem and value additions. So we want to take you briefly through what we do or what value we can add to your businesses and to the farming that is happening around the coastal region, especially touching on the cashews. So I'll just give you briefly how the bank is organized to be able to support the ventures and the activities that you're engaged in before I give it to Bernard. Yeah, just who's controlling there? Yeah. Oh, sorry. Thank you. This is just a quick intro in terms of how we can be able to work with you, I can be able to support you, and why Equity is well positioned to be your partner bank, as we undertake to improve and add value to our cashews. So the bank reasoned that to be able to deliver to its customers, it needed to arrange itself in such a way that it's addressing the key pillars that are impacting on our economy, agriculture being the key of them. We are primarily an agriculture country. So our first area of focus is in food and agriculture and also extractives in terms of minerals and all that. But for now, we'll focus on agriculture. So this forms the basic pillar for the bank, where cashews is. So for us to be able to support and work with the nation, then this needs to be a very key area that we focus on. So agriculture, in terms of primary production, we are focused on that as a bank. The focus is to be able to increase the balance sheet of the bank to 30%. Currently, we are doing about 11%, and I think when one of the speakers said that one of the key challenges that we have as cashew farmers is how to be able to access financing or to support farmers in terms of financing. So we'll delve deep into that later in terms of how we can be able to support you, but this is a very important key for the pillar for the bank. And for us, we need to move from 12% currently to 30%. We want to dedicate a big balance sheet to be able to support our farmers so that we can be able to, produce and more importantly move to the next stage, which is the value addition, so that the players along the value chain are all supported. So from agriculture, we move on to manufacturing. This is the pillar where I sit. And for us is to be able to work with the farmers, aggregators, and other players within that, the cashews and the farming value chains, to be able to add or improve the quality of the production that they have. So as a bank, we want to dedicate that to 15%. Currently, we're doing about 6%, but we need to move that participation from a balance sheet perspective to 15% so that we can significantly impact on our farmers, we can significantly impact on the value or the returns that our farmers are making. So, because when we sell a product that has been added value, instead of doing, raw cashew and selling, you are able to package, you are able to, extract oils, you are able then to, get more out of that product. So manufacturing, then from that, we need to connect trade and investments, whether it is local, connecting our farmers or our players within the value chain, either to the local trade networks or external trade network. Equity Bank has been known for doing shows. I don't know any of you has participated in our international shows? To Rwanda, Tanzania, yeah? So we do this to connect our players or our customers to other players to benchmark, see what is being done in Tanzania. I think we are told Tanzania is leading us in this space, right? How can we learn from them? What best practices can we bring to see how we can improve on our value chain? So that is important for us. Then focus in terms of the MSME. This is the base that is actually playing the business sector in Kenya. MSMEs is handling probably 70-80% of the trade that is happening in the country. So we need to facilitate those. And then while doing that, we need to be socially responsible. So in terms of sustainability, that's the fifth pillar for the bank. We do it responsibly. We do it in such a way that we respect our environment. We do it in such a way that then it's in a sustainable economy system. Then the last one in all this, we embed when you come to a bank, you're able to do your transactions, you're able to interact with us through technology. So that's important. We layer technology to be able to reach those customers or those farmers that are not able to access the bank physically. And I think there's one of the players who talked about connecting farmers or really being able to disburse through mobile banking and all that. So these are some of the solutions the bank introduces. I just want to introduce briefly how the bank is organized, how the bank is suited to support our farmers. We're happy to talk to you. We are here today, tomorrow, so please talk to us. We are happy to support you and look at how we can be able to finance where financing is required, how we can be able to help you build capacity within your businesses and the farming. So I'll give it to Bernard to take us for the next steps.
Thank you very much, Ashford, for that. And now, as he mentioned, we support all the value chain actors. Tuna support kuanzia mkulima mpaka kwa soko. So those who are doing primary production, whether they are large scale, small scale, or medium scale, we are able to support them. The processors, or those who are aggregating, the processors, those who are adding value, we are able to support them. So just briefly, this is how the bank is structured. We have a department called Food and Agriculture Department, and it has a team of specialists to support, the value chain actors. So we have key value chains. For example, we have horticulture, which is fruits, vegetables, and flowers, and that's a sector that I support as a specialist. We have dairy, we have livestock, we have farm inputs, those who are using farm inputs, grains and oilseeds, and also the nuts, and other value chain also. So in a nutshell, that's how the the sector is organized, and also on agri-mechanization. It's very important that we mechanize our operations, our agriculture. So that's very important. Looking at how we can support the industry. So specifically for these the cashew nut also, we support that, and we understand the processes, the production. So what we need to have a discussion, how can we support you? If you are someone who is aggregating, if you are someone who is processing, and you are farmers, how can you work together? You as an anchor, and then you support your entire ecosystem. Now, as I mentioned, we support the entire value chain. This just, a generic one, and we look at it right from input. Do we use inputs for cashew nut? Tunatumia fertilizer? We buy seedlings? Yes. So do you apply, let's say, maybe some pesticides, organic pesticides, to control pests and diseases? It's a hardy crop. What I want to bring out is that we support all the value chain actors. And the actors could be what I call corporate organization. Yes, we're able to support you. There could be SMEs. We're able to support you. It could be government institutions. There's a department that supports that. We call it public service institutions. There's a department, a segment that supports that. And then finally, when it comes to now those who are doing farming, they fall under what we call retail. That's where we have the smallholder farmers. We have self-help groups and cooperative societies. Yes, up to that, I really don't want to take a lot of time. I know we are we just taken lunch, and also there's a lot that we need to discuss. But what I would like to emphasize is that we are keen on supporting farmers and all the value chain actors in cashew nut value chain. So feel free, in the cashew nut growing regions, we are well represented. Which are those regions? Kwale, Kilifi, and where? In Lamu. Here in Kwale, we have 2 branches. In addition to that, we have a number of agents that are able to, you can access our services. Same to Kilifi and Lamu. So whenever you need any service, feel free to walk into one of our branches and then seek for assistance. Up to that point, I would like to say that I'm very, very grateful to be here today. And thank you very much for giving us an opportunity to just present what we have. Asanteni sana.
Asante sana. And kama uko na swali yoyote ya kukua member labda ama pesa itoke wapi wakuone, si ndio? And you have also, we have a tent at the back as well, one of the booths as well. Feel free to engage to the team. Where is the team again? Can you stand waone venye mnakaa? Unajua watu wa benki wanakanga wamenyoroka, ndio hao. Sawa sawa? Make sure you see them. Ni pesa. Asante Kitini. Thank you so much, and we appreciate Equity for really standing with the farmers. Ni muhimu sana. They won the award. I was the one there present at the Bankers Awards, and they won the Bank of the Year by supporting farmers, which is good. Sawa sawa, endeleni vile vile. Thank you so much. Asante sana. Now, Bwana Chair Benjamin Tito, njoo tafadhali, so that we can have this session. And this is a session on sustainability and resilience in the cashew value chain topics. Kuna watu hapa wamekuwa wakisema 1 2 3 1 2 3 pale about value chain, mambo kama yale. Bwana Benjamin, please come up here. And Bwana Benjamin as well will immediately invite the first 2 speakers very fast, then our final panel here. Alafu tufungie hapo, si ndio? Thank you so much. Benjamin is very much ready to go. But as Benjamin is doing that, I would like Benjamin to steal just 1 minute of your time. Kuna mkulima hapa. There's a farmer, a person with a lot of experience. Unajua nimekuwa nikitaja some counties. I want us first of all to appreciate, kuna county moja sijataja. Wametoka mbali, wametoka all the way from Embu. Makofi tafadhali kwa Embu. Wako wapi? Hebu simameni niwaone watu wa Embu, niwaone. Hao watu usiwaangalie tu hivi. Si tu mambo ya mirama chochote, hata cashew nut wako pale, si ndio? Asante sana all the way. We appreciate you for being right here. Kuna jamaa pale kutoka Lamu. Uko wapi? Hebu njoo hapa mbio. Unajua acha nikuone kwa sababu huyu amekula cashew nut akakaa amenyooka. Kuja hapa kidogo. Unajua we want to appreciate everybody here. And he said this, as a mkulima I could share 1 or 2 nuggets. Na tutafanya naye hapa kwa tusimama ndio akizidisha na mgonga. Sawa, karibu sana. Hebu tuambie mawili, umekuja na zawadi? Okay, sawa. Hii ni yangu ama nani? Twende.
Hamjambo. Kabla sijaongea, ningewaomba kwa heshima yenu na taadhima yenu muniruhusu nimpatie bwana governor zawadi hata kama niko salamu. Hilo ni la kwanza. La pili, ningewaomba muamke tumpe zawadi bwana governor hata kama ni chache. Tafadhalini kwa heshima yenu. Governor wa Kwale County. Hii ni zawadi nimetoka nayo Lamu, japokuwa ni chache lakini katiti ni tamu. Kwa hivyo ningeomba aje mwakilishi wake nimpatie zawadi ampelekee bwana governor chache kutoka Lamu County kisiwani Amu.
Naomba director, maybe utachukua on behalf, ndio tutapatia governor. Sawa. Haya, director huko. Bwana Maina ako hapa. Bwana Maina bado alikuwa anamalizia ile dessert. Kwa hivyo njoo. I think wewe ndio utakuja ndio uchukue. Si unajua tutampelekea pale kwa sababu huyu ni director ataifikisha. Si ndio? Haya, mpe basi. Haya, sawa. I think ngoja hiyo picha ipigwe ndio evidence, isipofika utajibu maswali. Asante. Asante.
Maneno yangu ni machache na mimi ni mkulima kutoka Lamu County kisiwani Amu. Waswahili wanasema kutangulia siko kufika. Na mambo mazuri hayataki haraka. tu ningependa kuwatanabaisha na kujitanabaisha mimi. Hapa kumezungumzwa mengi, lakini kitu kimoja ni muhimu sana. Kitu ambacho napenda kueleza, Waswahili husema si kila mkweli ana ukweli. Waweza kuwa mkweli lakini ukawa si mkweli. Kuwa mkweli kazi rahisi, kutekeleza ukweli ndio kazi ngumu. Sisi tumekusanyika hapa kwa sababu ya korosho. Tumetoka mbalimbali, maeneo mbalimbali katika taifa kuja kuiwakilisha nini? Korosho. Lau si korosho tusingekusanyika hapa, si ndio? Kwa hivyo hebu baada ya kuwa wakweli tutekelezeni na ukweli. Mengi yamezungumzwa kuhusu korosho, lakini kutekeleza ukweli ndio kitu muhimu. Kuwa wakweli kazi rahisi. Si tumefika hapa? Kila mtu amefika, lakini kutekeleza ukweli ndio kazi ngumu. Ningependa kusema haya kwa sababu mara nyingi watu huwa wakweli lakini hawatekelezi ukweli. Hilo ni la kwanza. La pili, mimi ukulima wangu ni wa organic. Ukulima wangu ni wa kienyeji ambao unaitwa wa kihistoria. Kwa mfano siku hizi kuna ukulima ambao unasema grafted ama wa fertilizer ama wa chemical. Mimi ukulima wangu situmii chemical yoyote, wala situmii fertilizer yoyote, wala mbolea ya madukani. Ukulima wangu ni wa kiasili. Kwa mfano mkorosho wahitaji pruning, wahitaji kulimiwa. Kuna matagaa ambayo yako kwenye mkorosho huwa ni waste, hata kama ni mabichi yafaa yatolewe. Kwa mfano matagaa ambao hayapati upepo, ambayo hayapati jua, yafaa yatolewe, yale yanakuwa ni waste. Kuna matagaa makavu ya lazima yatolewe kwa sababu ile sumu inasambaa kwa mkorosho. Na mkitaka kuthibitisha maneno yangu, nenda mkaziangalie korosho zangu ni za organic ama ni za fertilizer ama ni za chemical. Hapo ndo mtajua ukweli kama haya ninayoongea ni ya ukweli ama si ya ukweli. Kwa haya machache, sina mengi. Natoa shukurani kwa watu wa Kwale, wamenipokea vizuri na mimi nimekuja kuiwakilisha korosho. Narejelea tena neno langu, tumekuwa wakweli lakini tukitekelezeni ukweli. Kama maneno alizozungumza profesa, asema watu wa Kenya ni watu wa kupanda ndege kabla ya kupanda baskili. Asanteni.
Asante sana. Haya, hata wewe nenda salimu governor wa Lamu. Najua tutajua mambo mengi pale, na kama kuna korosho zingine pale patiana huko, huku watu tutakula sisi wote. Asante sana. Che, uko tayari? Karibu sana, chukua kipaza sauti chako pale, tuelekeze, waita watu wako na wenzako ndio waje hapa. Karibu sana.
Good afternoon. Hamjambo. Sioni kama, naona kama tuna jambo mimi. Hatujambo. Unajua the worst bit is speaking to people ambao wamejaza matumbo zao. And especially on an afternoon when the AC is not working quite well. Especially wale wamekaa mbali kiasi na air conditioning. Kwa hivyo nitaomba within the session ile tutakuwa nayo tusiombe mvua. Sawa sawa. Itaja bila hata kuomba sisi. I mean tusilale. Ningetaka kuita one very important person from the Ministry of Agriculture atuzungumzie mambo ya serikali na mikakati ile imeweka kuhusu sustainability. Na ningeomba tuweke mikono yetu pamoja tumkaribishe Bwana Peter Owoko. Mr. Peter, tunaomba uje tafadhali. Peter Owoko ametoka Nairobi. He's a good friend of mine. We always interact on a number of issues. Kwa hivyo atatuzungumzia mambo ya policy, kwa sababu haya mambo tunazungumza hapa bila policy direction kutoka kwa serikali basi haitakuwa inaweza. So Bwana Peter, The floor is yours. Asante.
Thank you very much. Sijui nijaribu Kiswahili, nitaweza kweli? Nisijaribu? Unajua aliyekuwa hapa changanye. Kuna yule ambaye alikuwa hapa, jina lake limenipita kidogo, alisema kwamba aliongea na vijana 145, si nimejaribu. Akakuta kwamba 45 ndio walifanya nini? Wako na simu, alafu 15 wakafanya nini? 25 wakafanya nini? Wako na smartphone. Kisha akasema nambari 7 ikafanya nini? 7 ndio walirespond ama walireply. Na alisema kwa machungu sana, kama ulimwangalia. Yuko wapi yule? Alikuwa na machungu sana. Manake nini? Manake nini? Pia nataka kuongezea kwamba yale mashida ambayo tuko nazo zote katika ukuzaji wa korosho tumeyataja hapa yote, sivyo? Na pia humo ndani tumetaja majibu ya hayo mashida yote. Sasa shida ni kwamba hatujazimachi. Sasa ziko hapo, shida ziko hapo within the room. The answers are also within the room, but they are not matched. So we are not getting solutions. That is the problem that we have. We have the problem, we have the answer. But the answer is not equated to the problem. So by the end of tomorrow, lazima tuwe tumezimatch zote. We must match them if we are to move forward. Okay? I'll make my presentation in English. 4 key areas, just a small introduction. Then we look at public policy in cashew nut value chain. There are also private policies in cashew nut value chain. Then we look at the institutional issues within the value chain. Most of the time we have focused on production, and a lot of policies have been around production. The story is that production is not the only challenge. We have systemic issues, fundamentally policy and governance challenge. Then we are saying that we require to go beyond production, look at the entire ecosystem. Look at entire ecosystem. Farmers all the way from processors, institutions, and connect all of them. But we are also saying that how many times do we harvest from a cashew tree in a year? Mara ngapi? Mara mbili. Mwezi wangapi na wangapi? Yeah? Tuko na wakulima humu ndani ama tuko na aggregators? Mwezi wa 3? Okay. Na hizo siku zingine tunafanya nini kama wakulima wa korosho, wa cashew ama korosho? Hizo siku zingine tunafanya nini? Mwingine alisema hapa ndani tunayakata haya miti, tunayatengeza makaa kwa sababu tunahitaji pesa. Si amesema hapa ndani? So we are saying that we need policies that integrate climate resilience, support sustainable production, drive industrial transformation through value chain. The one that ambayo itaangalia mambo yote ya mkulima na pia ya korosho yenyewe. So nimeongea juu ya public policy. The public policy sets rules for the game yako kwa ujumla. Ni kama kuweka mistari ambapo tunafaa kuwa. Lakini yenyewe utendaji wenyewe uko katika the private policy. The private policy decides how the game is played in practice. Sasa hiyo ndio inakuwa muhimu sana. Wakati wowote wakati kuna public policy, there's a private policy to respond to the public policy, and that is what realizes the output. Resilience in the cashew sector comes from diversification, local value addition, strong institutions, and coordinated governance. Two areas we have a lot of issues on. The area of diversification and coordinated governance. Hapo ndio tunapata mashida mingi sana. Kwa sababu tunaongea korosho peke yake. But what supports cashew nut? We need to have other enterprises that support cashew nuts, which as we promote cashew nut, we are also having statements around them as alternative income. When there is no income from cashew nut, you are still able to continue producing. So we are saying that policy should shift from isolated interventions to systems approach, connecting production, finance, markets, and sustainability and a shared national vision. For cashew value chains, sustainability and resilience, we must have strong government framework, responsible private sector behavior, and active farmer participation. Strong government framework, which we have quite a lot. Responsible private sector behavior. Responsible private sector behavior. Alafu na active farmer participation. Hapo tumepungua kidogo. So ukiangalia private policy na public policy in terms of comparing where they cover, the focus for the public policy is a sector-wide. It's looking at the whole area. But the private policy is supply chain efficiency. The farm, what you are actually doing. Then sustainability role, the public is looking at the environment and social standards. The one for the private sector applies and sometimes exceeds them. It goes beyond. This is where now unakuta kwamba uko na rainforest alliance. Those some other requirements which are there at the market level. Then resilience role is build systemic resilience, and for the private sector, it builds operational resilience, contact, diversification, everything that they do. On accountability, the public policy is accountable to the citizen, the whole voter. But the private one is to yourself, the shareholders, the customers, and the partners, because they're supposed to make a livelihood out of it. So we are saying that sustainable and resilient cashew value chain only works when public and private policies are aligned. If the two are not aligned, then you can't move. There'll always be issues left, right, and center. For example, if the government bans export for raw nuts, then it means the private sector must encourage local processing. Otherwise, the farmer will be stuck with the produce. But private investors must build processing factories. When they build processing factories, they create jobs and add value, which is also part of the policy of the government. Another example is where the government promotes climate and smart agriculture. When the government is promoting climate smart agriculture, what is the farmer supposed to do? What are farmers supposed to do? Adopt. How do you adopt? When you are told that grafted seedlings are suitable for climate smart and you are not adopting, then you are not implementing the policy, and then you will not move. Then we are talking about the common challenges that we are facing at the policy level, weak enforcement of public policies, private sector bypassing sustainability for profit. Most of the private sector are more focused towards profit. Poor coordination between actors and smallholder farmers being excluded. We've mentioned that all the production, 80-90% of our production is from who? The smallholder farmer. But most of the time, they are excluded. So the policy reforms that are possible to address these issues include policies should prioritize smallholder stability since they are the foundation of the value chain. We are talking about strengthening farmer level resilience, and there are quite a number of things we can be able to do within that space. Expanding access. Thank you. Expanding access to climate resilience planting materials, subsidizing or incentivizing climate smart practices, improving extension services, and supporting crop insurance and weather indexed insurance schemes. Then on improving market stability and transparency, the cashew farmers are often exposed to volatile global prices. We must have a mechanism to support cashew farmers on this. This could be price stabilization mechanism, promote transparent pricing systems, and even strengthen cooperatives to increase bargaining power. Most of our farmers, they produce and they try to market. It's not possible. Let's try and use our cooperatives as much as possible. On promoting local value addition, we are saying many countries export raw cashew nuts instead of processed kernels. This means they get less earning. So there's quite a bit we can be able to do around this space, and quite a bit has been mentioned, including tax incentives, investment in processing infrastructure, skills development, and good export policies. On enhancing access to finance, and I think equity has just been here, this is a key area. Cashew actors often lack affordable credit. Equity may be having the credit, but those other things, we need to talk about them. Equity, hiyo tutaongea kwa tent. Access and affordability. De-risking lending through guarantee schemes. This is a government function. Support tailored financial products and encouraging blended finance models involving public-private sector. Then when it comes to strengthening quality standards and traceability, and this was also said very early today, quality standards and traceability for global competitiveness. If our products do not meet standards and traceability is poor, we can't get into the market. Competitiveness is lost. So we must develop and enforce national quality standards aligned with export market requirements, invest traceability systems, and also support certification schemes, whether it's organic, fair trade, sustainability labels, and all that. Then on climate and environmental governance, cashew expansion can lead to deforestation if unmanaged. We are saying we want to produce. As we say we produce and open up new land, we must have mechanisms to address issues to do with deforestation. Otherwise, we'll have other problems coming up. Now, when it comes to the private sector, we are saying that most of the time they deal with rules and standards set by companies, corporates, NGOs, and buyers. Including farmers must also set their own standards. How many farmers have said they must only get their planting material from a certified source? Ama sisi ni wale tukipita tukikuta mtu anauza mbegu tunanunua tunaenda tunapanda. Tuko class gani? Mbegu ni mbegu. We must have standards. We must have standards. Sourcing standards, pricing and contracts, processing practices, and certification. When you talk about pricing, lazima tuwe wakulima ambao hatuna haraka wa kuuza bila kudhamini soko linasema nini na ile kazi ambayo tumefanya. We must be farmers who only sell when we must sell at a good market, not that we are rushing. A processing company requiring farmers to follow sustainable farming practices. There are certain companies, they buy everything, but they give you very low prices. Wanakuambia hii tukienda kuchagua sijui 50% itakuwa mbaya. Na wewe pia unafanya nini? Unauza sababu unataka pesa. That means you have no standards. You must have standards. When it comes to the institutions, establish a national cashew platform or a council. I think this was said earlier on. We don't need a board per se. Even if you need a board, you will still require a platform where create a formal multi-stakeholder body which includes farmers, cooperatives, processors, and exporters, financial institutions, everybody. The platform should coordinate strategy, share data, and resolve bottlenecks. You sit down and agree on how you want to move forward at this platform level. Develop clear national cashew nut strategy. Here is where you are setting goals for yourselves. Unified roadmap helps align actors. As it is today, everybody is in the field. They are doing what they are doing in their best way. If we score, tunasema asante. But we have no common direction so far. That is a big problem. So we must establish this platform, and we must come up with a clear national strategy with clear set targets on what we want to achieve, what we want to do, who is supposed to do what. Right now, everybody is doing their own. And they're doing their best, of course, but we can't go far with that. Improve interministerial coordination. Here we also have a few of some issues, and this is where we also must take a very strong lead. The issues which were being discussed in the morning of putting some tax in certain areas, other ministries coming up with other policies which are not coherent with what we have, we need to address that so that we align all the issues that affect the sector. Cashew touches agriculture, trade, industry, environment, and even finance. And if we do policies which are not coherent, we will have a lot of issues. Invest in shared infrastructure. Public investment can unlock private sector growth. Here, we are talking about the key infrastructure. Very important, roads and the like. And here we have, when I say government, I mean both, either the national or the county, because the government is government at the end of the day. Where do we put key infrastructure? Are they addressing the farmers' need? This would reduce fragmentation and connect actors more effectively. Then strengthen data system and information flow. Somebody talked about this even earlier. We must be able to have a centralized, reliable data source. Facilitate public-private partnerships. Government should act as a convener so that we are able to have everybody reading from the same script and investing in the same direction. Then support strong producer organization. Well-organized farmers will improve coordination, give them legal recognition and capacity building, training in governance, financial management, and market engagement. This is also very important. You remember these issues of governance. We bring farmers together, I become their key agent. But huku nyuma pia, mimi ni broker wa mwingine upande mwingine. All those are happening. We need to have honesty within the industry. In conclusion, we are saying that cashew is not just a crop. It is an opportunity to build resilience, communities, create jobs, and drive sustainable economic growth in Kenya. Policy priority areas where we need to start, key ones. Create an enabling environment through clear, consistent regulations, and not just creating. Enforcing becomes also important. Invest in rural infrastructure. Quite a bit of some of the areas where we have cashew. The roads are poor, aggregation centers are not there. We need quite a bit of those infrastructure. Extension services are weak. Promote climate resilience and sustainable production practices. Provide incentives for local processing and value addition. At the private sector level, we need to do a lot of investment. Let's invest. Wakulima, tusingoje mbegu za bure. Tuliambiwa tree. Planting a tree is difficult. The seedlings, let's buy and plant. That's when you have invested. Strengthen responsible sourcing and quality standards. Improve access to finance and inputs for farmers and SMEs. Drive efficiency and competitiveness across the value chain. This must come from the private sector. Then at the institutional level, we need to strengthen public-private partnerships and dialogue platforms, enhance institutional capacity and governance frameworks, and ensure inclusion of smallholder farmers and local enterprises. These are the key areas within the policy frameworks that we need to address in order to revive the policy, the cashew nut value chain. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's put our hands for Bwana Peter. Peter, you'll sit somewhere. Yes, we'll transition to the next speaker, and I want to invite the director for Kenya Forest Research Institute, based at Kibwezi, to give us a presentation. Let's welcome him, the clap of hands. Hiyo haitoshi hiyo. Haitoshi. Safi, safi, safi.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Keyo. I'll take you briefly on to revive and thrive and leasing Kenya potential, Kenya Cashew potential. But basically, I'll go to the key areas. My key areas will be mainly organic cashew production, cashew-based agroforest systems, and rehabilitation of all cashew. And I'm happy that most of this has been covered very well by many speakers, including Prof from Tanzania and many other speakers yesterday and today, and through the question and answer session. So organic farming, mainly we are looking at the environmentally friendly cultivation practices that enhance soil health. Plant growth is a function of the soil, you are growing it, and then the moisture and the temperature. So if you are going to expect plant growth, the trees to grow, you need to give them an amber environment in terms of the media you are growing them in. Yesterday we talked about the soil, a healthy soil. That's what we are going to deal on. And then on agroforest systems, we know the benefits of agroforest systems. I don't want to overdo on that one. And then rehabilitation of cashew plantations. I wish to leave the situation analysis, was very well covered yesterday. I don't want to dwell on it the first day, first speaker. I also want to skip sorry, I'm going backwards. I'm sorry. It's not moving. Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. So that one was to keep that one. I want to start from there. Organic farming. Why organic farming? We know that the key areas here is that we need to add, we talk about compost manure, normal manure in the farmyard manure. And these days we have other manures we use in the farm. Of late, we are coming with the soil amenders. We talk about Wondergrow, we talk about biochar and others. The aim is promote the health of the soil by providing the basic ingredients for plant growth, which start from the roots. We are also talking about biological pest control. We are talking about this is a case study of Kitui, Kibwezi, Makueni County. Our rainfall is roughly 600 plus minus 100. When the rainfall is good, we go to 700, 800. When it's not very poor, we go to 350. This year is very good. So digging of trenches is very, very important. We also, some farmers, land in Kibwezi is not a big problem. They have enough land. They have sand dams. They are able to get water for irrigation during the planting season. We also encourage for big plantation, for mature cashew plantations to do the basins. Mulching is a requirement, and also I think the muting, I'm not able to read it very clearly. The adjustment of the writings. Maybe I use these ones. So you'll find that mulching and crop rotation and mulching is very important. So next, yeah, I'm able to get from here. Soil enrichment, I talked about biochar and Wondergrow. Application of lime. Most of our soils are acidic. A number of times we don't do soil testing. So it's a requirement that before you start cashew planting your cashew, you need to know your soil. Soil structure in terms of sand, loam, and clay, and organic matter content. That's very important. It will enable you to know what to add. And then on that note, on intercropping benefits, we know that cashew is planted at a spacing of 10 by 10 or 12 by 12 meters. that large land in between the cashew need to be weeded. For it to be clean, we need to do intercropping. It has many benefits. We have heard that if you grow cashew without a shelter belt, it can easily start breaking. So you need to plan well on your farm. So one of the things you do need to know is about intercropping and then organic biomass recycling. Our brother from Lam mentioned clearly that the dead leaves within the cashew are not healthy for the plant. So we use those leaves to make your compost manure, which will be used to enrich your soil so that you are going to do organic farming. We have heard about the benefits of intercropping. Environmental benefits, we have talked about improved soil structure, reduced chemical pollution, conserved biodiversity. Biodiversity, the soil is living, it's not dead. That's why it's not good to add inorganic fertilizers, the soil. You either make it very acidic or very organic, meaning very alkaline. So it's very important to ensure that the soil is living. There's microorganisms in the soil. We also have mycorrhiza in the soil. So that cashew nut is a scavenger. It's a very good tree. It's able to have an extensive root system, but we have to ensure that the soil is healthy. For us to do that one, we need to ensure that we have enough biodiversity in the soil to maintain that healthy over time. And then the economic benefits are there clearly. Access to optimum to premium markets, reduced input, and then the challenges are clear, low yields. We have had them all through from yesterday. Why is this important? We are growing a plant. We are talking about quality. Quality of the cashew will depend on the quality of the plant we are planting. Production will be tied to the quality of the plant we are planting. The media, the soil. So this starts from the nursery. When you are doing your cashew in the nursery, you ensure that the potting media is well balanced. Why do we need to use Wondergrow? Research has shown that Wondergrow has essential ingredients which amend the soil so that the roots, once the plant roots anchor to the Wondergrow and biojar, they are able to acquire minerals quickly and they grow healthy. And you have an extensive root system. That extensive root system supports a vigorous growing plant. And from research, they have shown that you need to keep the cashew for 35 to 45 days in the nursery. But sometimes, how do you plan? You may find you don't have enough seed, quality seed, so you may start early because of lack of quality seed, or start late. There are consequences of starting early and starting late. When you start early, it's good, but you end up with crops in the nursery which are 60 to 90 days old. That becomes a kind of a waste of time. You need to plant those cashew seedlings at a stage when they are growing vigorously. That means they are going to add value in your farm. They will establish, have quick growth, so that within 1 year, you might find they are attaining a height of 1 to 1.5 meters, and some of them could have started producing the early flowers. On cashew pest agroforest systems, this was dealt on yesterday, very clear that cashew can be intercropped with many legumes, including cowpeas, soybeans, normal beans, and green grams. You can also do maize. You can also do cashew nuts. The speaker from Nigeria said you can also do the other crops from Nigeria, which means it's quite advanced. The starting point is that the spacing is 10 by 10 meters. The spacing between, if you are to weed, is very expensive. So when you intercrop with legumes, you increase fertility through nitrogen fixing. You have organic matter after harvesting your beans, remain on the farm, and then you are increasing soil structure. Physical properties of the soil will be increased. At the end of the day, your soil will be very healthy compared to a farmer who does not have intercropping. And then the other issue is that if you want to do grasses. Grass is a competitor of young plants. We recommend that you do pasture, improved pasture, after 3 years. So the first 3 years, before cashew starts flowering and seeding, you are going to do green grams, pigeon peas, and the like. But after that one, if you are a large-scale farmer, you can now get into grass farming. In grass farming in dry areas, we know it's money. You are getting intermediate returns from this cashew, the intermediate crops. So you are going to reseed your cashew plantation with improved pasture for that region. Depending on the amount of rainfall you are getting, that will give you enough full food for your crops. And your returns, of course, your returns. Or rehabilitation, this was very, very well captured yesterday. I don't want to dwell on it. The professor gave everything. He said the best thing to do is to do top pruning, not trunk pruning. Prune slightly above the first branches. How you do it is the technique. So we have to learn this one and know how to do it. The challenges are there. So one of the key things in planting cashew nut is the planting hole. You ensure that your planting hole is at least 60 by 60 centimeters. 60 by 60 centimeters. The width of 60, you can use length, width, and depth. You can use circular holes also. That's very critical. Because if you don't do that hole in dry areas in Makueni, Mwingi, and maybe in parts of Embu, you end up your crops, they will dry. That's why people are asking about drip irrigation at the start of the crop. You may plant at the start of the rain season, and the rain goes away. So you need to have plan P or HANA to ensure that your crops are going to survive. So that's why a good planting hole is important. I mentioned about the cherry trees, you can see there. You need to have a farm plan where you have your cherry trees alongside outside the farm and in between the farm. And then I talked about the basins. When it rains, sometimes you have 3 to 5 rain days in a short rain season. Without those trenches to conserve water, without the basins, you end up losing everything. They will be runoff, and then within 2-3 days, your cashew are drying, and yet you have the pampa rainfall. So those farmers who have practiced terrace farming and using the basins, you can call them half moon or smiles. In dry lands, they really help a lot, even in restoring degraded rangelands or drylands, or even forests and farmlands. It's quite useful. So in conclusion, the key thing we need here is that adapting sustainable and resilient practices is really important in the cashew. The first speaker talked about resilience agriculture. We talk about climate change. We mitigate, we adapt, and we become resilient. So we need to diversify. And then organic production, I mentioned about it, and agroforestry systems, they're quite important. And then finally is that a coordinated approach of all these, you need to take the researcher, the farmer, the industry, and the people who want to add value. They will tell you the feedback is really critical that what you are producing is quality plants, but you want to get in quality cashew nuts. So we need to do that improvement program. Then finally, sustainable cashew production is not just environmental necessity, it's also a pathway to increased productivity and resilient to improved incomes at farm level. So that's what we expect our cashew industry, if we do what has been told in this room, to be looking like this, that we will have all the products as mentioned by the other speakers. And then finally, the key areas is that the short-term action we can incorporate is incorporate modern pest practices in planting techniques to ensure that your cashews survive and thrive when they are young and start producing early, including improved varieties, and then promote inclusive approaches, train farmers on what you want them to do and the benefits of what you want them to do so that they are able to appreciate and improve on what they are doing. Number 3 is rehabilitation of all cashew nuts. It's a sad story that in this region, people are cutting all cashew nuts for firewood. It's a sad story, but we have been told what to do. We can trim them, we can do top pruning, and then we can have them starting producing again. But if they are planted very far apart, we can do restoration by planting more cashew nut in between at the recommended spacing. Then finally, it's about proper crop husbandry, and then long-term use of agroecological specific improved varieties. We are doing such, and we are improving every year. It's important that we incorporate the new varieties from Tanzania, from Karro in Kenya, and even from West Africa. We simply copy and paste. As long as we do it the right way, we'll be able to increase our production. Remember, we are talking about quality. I think with those few remarks, I want to say thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Daktari. You love your seat in the frontier. Naomba tafadhali tusimame. That very person mwenye ako on your left, umgote. Na mwenye ako right, you shake their hands. Then we sit. Let's sit, please. Naomba tutulie so that we get now to the session. And I want to invite the panelists for the day. The first panelist I'm inviting here is Stella Mashumbe. Stella, the Institute Director for the Industrial Crops Research Institute at Calro Mtwapa. Next person is Dr. Evans Ngeno, the Principal Policy Analyst in charge of productive systems at Kipra. And lastly, Professor Onyayo, I don't know whether I said it rightly. Ongayo, good. Thank you, is the Dean, School of Environmental and Earth Sciences at Pwani University. Let's clap for this great team. Good. Let's now, the best part has just begun. Ndio hii sasa. By the time we're finishing this tomorrow, tutakuwa kama professor hapa. Tutaenda nyumbani tumeiva. Au sio? Good. So welcome. I hope we have adequate, yes, good. I'll start with those that have not spoken because we've had two speakers here. And right away, we move to, they always say ladies first. So, and I have the opportunity, there's a beautiful lady here who is branded. And that's, we want to hear her voice and get something from her. And this is to Stella Mashumbe. We want you to tell us what innovations support for productivity and environmental sustainability that we can be able to do, and how research can support climate adaptation strategies. Just in a nutshell.
Habari ya mchana. Good afternoon. Nitatumia lugha zote. My name is Stella Katini Mwashumbe. I'm the Institute Director for Industrial Crops, whereby cashew is one of the industrial crops. I'm based at Calro Mtwapa. I have to acknowledge Professor Masawe. He has been part of us in most of the research work we are doing on cashew, and I'm privileged to be his student because nimejifunza mengi kutoka kwake. So zile korosho mnasikia Calro anatoa varieties, Calro anafundisha watu kuhusu propagation. He is the guru behind those innovations, which I'm part of the student of Professor. Professor, asante sana. Heshima yako. nakupatia. So nikianza kusema kuhusu what innovation support productivity of cashew and environmental sustainability. First of all, I can say Calro have many technologies, innovations, and management practices which support cashew productivity. And one of them I can talk about is improved varieties, the resilient varieties of cashew, which we've worked hand in hand in collaboration with other stakeholders to make sure that farmers have improved varieties for increased productivity. For example, someone might ask, where are these improved varieties coming from? Actually, we started by selecting the mother trees, elite mother trees from our farmers' farm. We can say we started from as far as Faza Island, and I can attest there are people who I've met in the field. One of them is walking in and is laughing. I've had a boat ride experience because I was going to look for those varieties, which I can make them mother trees. And it took us 22 years to release those improved varieties. So I have 26 years I've worked in research institution for 26 years, which is more than half of my age. And I've used 22 out of 26 years working on cashew. So whatever we are telling farmers, we have improved varieties, it is true they are improved. So what you need to do is make sure that for us to improve productivity, we need to use them. For example, we are saying we have varieties which are early maturing. There are some which are drought tolerant, varieties which withstand rising temperatures and unpredictable rainfall. So if a farmer pick one of these, we will be able to say, as we are talking today, revive and thrive. We will achieve this only when we do the right thing. We use the right varieties for our farms. For example, if you are just given mkorosho umeenda ukapanda, alafu umengojea hiyo miaka yote, tunaongea juu ya miaka 1.5 hadi 2 with the improved varieties umepata korosho. Sasa hiyo wewe umepanda, hujui utavuna nini wala utavuna lini. Mkorosho, nikisema naongea botany ya mkorosho kidogo, mkorosho una maua mara 2, the male and the hermaphrodite. So if you talk of umepewa mbegu na hujui ilitoka wapi, inaweza kuwa a bigger percentage of that mkorosho wewe umepanda is having male flowers. And we know the work of male flowers. After pollination, zinaanguka. Si ni ukweli wakulima? Then mkorosho uliona umetoa maua mengi lakini umepata korosho 2-3 kwa ule mkorosho. Unakuwa disappointed. But we are assuring you by using improved varieties, we have investigated on them and knowing what percentage are they carrying in terms of hermaphrodite flowers, what percentage are they carrying of male flowers, so that at the end of the pollination process, you still have some cashew panicles holding in your tree. So another practice I can talk about is spacing. My colleague here, Dr. Michael, has talked about spacing. And unajua, overcrowding can compromise your productivity, and overspacing also can compromise with your production. Look at, somebody was talking, we have 6 to 8 trees in an acre. That you don't expect to get much from that field, even if they are high yielders, and you only have 5. So means what we are trying to say here, the technology of spacing, you have to use the right spacing when you are planting your cashew trees. Ndio pia tuweze kupata mazao yale tunatarajia. Then he has also talked about the size of the hole. Tunaambiwa tuende tukapande mkorosho, tunaenda tunafukua juu, tunaweka mkorosho, tunasema tumepanda kwa sababu ya kuchoka. Mara nyingi tunasema hatutaki kuchoka. Wacha tuambiane ukweli, ni ukitaka faida lazima uchoke. Kwa hivyo tunasema shimo lile ambalo limefanywa utafiti na likaonekana kwamba linaweza kushikilia ule mkorosho wakati wa kiangazi, wakati wa dharubu yoyote, ni lile la 2 futi kwa 2. ameeleza Dr. Michael na ameonyesha kwa mchoro pale kwamba hayo mashimo ndo tunafaa kuchimba, lakini tunaona katika wakulima wengi mtu anafukua kidogo, bora ameweka mkorosho na anaenda. Sasa tukirudi mwaka ujao tunakuta mingi ni ile haikushika, maybe kiangazi kilikuja. Wakati tunakwambia chimba lile shimo, toa mchanga wote, changanya manyua, weka. Saa nyingine tumekusaidia pia kufanya soil conservation. Tumekusaidia ku preserve the moistures. Mvua ikinyesha ikienda, ule mkorosho una muda wa kutumia ule unyevu uliobaki pale ndani kwa muda kabla tukutane na kiangazi. So kuna sababu kwa nini unaambiwa chimba shimo hivyo. Kwa hivyo wakulima, naomba msichoke kuchimba mashimo makubwa yale mmeelekezwa. Then intercropping, ile kuchanganya mimea. Tunajua mkorosho utachukua muda kitambo uanze kupata pesa. Kwa hivyo mara nyingi tunasema ninapanda mkorosho alafu niungoje miaka 1.5. Hiyo ni kupoteza muda, wacha nipande hivi vya haraka haraka. Tunakuhimiza panda mkorosho, panda vyakula vingine pale katikati. Wakati unangojea mkorosho uzae, utaweza kupata mavuno ya ile mimea midogo midogo ulioweka pale. Na pia itakusaidia kupunguza mmomonyoko wa udongo wakati utakuwa umeweka mimea mingine katikati. Alafu na pia jinsi tunakabiliana na magonjwa na wadudu wa mkorosho. Tuko na mbinu nyingi kama shirika la utafiti ya kusaidia kupambana na wadudu na magonjwa, and one of them actually it's still using the improved varieties because they have some percentage of tolerance, and at the same time we say zile mbinu tunatumia ziwe integrated. We say use integrated pest management. Usitumie mbinu moja. Ile tunajua saa nyingine ni kupiga dawa ndo suluhisho, lakini saa zingine hata si kupiga dawa. Inategemea shamba lako je ni safi, unapalilia pale shambani, unapunguza matagaa, ama tunasema tu mkorosho utajitetea wenyewe alafu tunatarajia kupata korosho safi. So insisting on integrated pest management as one of the ways of doing supporting and increasing our productivity, at the same time environmental sustainable. So, and another practice we have, or an innovation, is about rehabilitation of unproductive trees. Miti yetu kweli tumeongea tangu jana, hata ikapatiwa jina lingine ambalo tunaogopa kulisema kama wakina mama. Lakini tuambiane ukweli, kuna miti kweli haizai. Na kwa sababu haizai, mingine inaweza kuwa ni genetically, kwa hivyo tunajaribu kuubadilisha, na kuna mbinu mingi za kuzibadilisha. Tuna copicing, kuna pollarding, na kuna top working. So wakati tunasema tunaangalia ule mti, wakulima tumewatrain sana. Kwa hivyo wale tumewahi kukutana, nafikiri hii ni lugha tumekuwa tunaitumia mara nyingi, tusaidiane kuhakikisha kwamba mkorosho unazaa. Swali la pili lilikuwa linasema how research support sustainability and climate change strategies. First of all is by providing scientific evidence and data which will help us identify vulnerabilities when it comes to our cashew. Then we develop development of evidence-based solution. For example, tumesema mkorosho fulani unazaa baada mwaka 1.5. Tunatakana tuonyeshe ushahidi ya kuwa kweli ulipandwa, na hata wakulima wengi hapa wataniambia mkorosho nilichukua Kalro, baada ya 1.5 nimeanza kuokota korosho. I know of a few which I've called, some of them I've visited, and they are telling me for sure that variety is producing at 1.5 years. So providing scientific and evidence-based solution, like if you talk of a variety producing at this particular time, it is true and you have data to support that. Then blending scientific knowledge with indigenous knowledge. Kuwa na story nyingi za kule nyumbani, na zingine si stories, zingine ni ukweli. Kwa mfano wakati tunaona mvua inataka kunyesha, kuna vile mbinu za kienyeji za kusema mvua itanyesha lini, si ni ukweli? Na kuna zile za kisayansi zinasema zitanyesha. Sasa tunahimizana tusikatae zile zetu na tusikatae hizi za kisayansi, tuzichanganye. We blend. Wewe dalili ya kiasili imekuambia kwamba mvua itanyesha, what preparations are you doing? As scientists, we've talked of the meteorological department have said it will rain in 2 weeks. what preparation are we, ama utasema hii ya kizungu siitumie na ngojea ile yangu mpaka nione sijui mawingu yamekaaje, nione ndege za aina fulani zimepita. Si mara nyingi tunatumia hizo ishara za kusema mvua inataka kunyesha. Alafu kitu kingine ni providing nature-based solution. Nature-based solution, for example, kule kwa kilimo cha korosho. Saa ingine kuna ule mdudu anaitwa majimoto. Sijui tunamjua huyo mdudu. Si ndio? Wakati mwingine tunamuona majimoto yuko pale, the mealybugs are there, the other pests are there. Sisi tunatimua moshi. Tukitimua moshi tunaimaanisha nini? Pia yule majimoto tu hatutaki afanye kazi pale. So nature-based solution in terms of enable, unamtengezea yule majimoto enabling environment ya kukusaidia kumaliza wale mealybugs. And I know wakulima wa pande hii ya Tanga wanafanya hiyo kazi sana. I've seen some of them doing some threading. Anaunganisha uzi itoke kwa mti hii iende kwa mti mwingine ili wale majimoto waende wakakule wale wadudu. So we are talking of providing nature-based solution, which is one of the technology we are encouraging farmers to use. And at the same time, we talk of soil conservation and knowing our soil health. Lazima tujue afya ya mchanga. Na sijui kama kabla tupande mikorosho huwa tumefikiria kwamba mchanga wetu uko namna gani, ama tunachimba mashimo vyovyote vile tukienda kupanda bila kuzingatia afya ya mchanga. So for those, I think I've able to capture most of the innovations that support productivity, at the same time environmental sustainability.
Thank you, Stella. Thank you so much, Stella. That was quite an interesting thing. And the most surprising part of it all is if we're selecting seed, especially to plant, and we pick the males, we've seen what happens. So it looks like the male gender is, we are endangered. Because I'm also informed that when the male bee fertilizes the queen, the destination is one, which is death. Naoma, wanaume hapa sasa mambo kumechemka. It looks like things are not very good. I want to move quite first to Dr. Evans Ngeno, and I want you to speak to the economic and the policy incentives that are needed to drive sustainability. And as you do this, then explain to us how these can be integrated into the national development planning. The floor is yours.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Ngeno, as has been said by the chair. And I want to say that I come from Kipra. And in Kipra, we are doing public policy. We advise the government on policy issues. And we also work with various stakeholders. And I want to acknowledge AFA for organizing this particular event, because this is in line with what Kenya's blueprint, which is Vision 2030, which is about to come to an end, is actually working on very hard. Secondly, this particular issue of cashew nuts is one of the transformative agendas that is being driven by the current government through the better plans. And we are supporting this as an institution. This financial year we have done value chain as our main theme, and I want to report that we are working currently before the end of June, and we have even county policy briefs. So what I want to declare is that in terms of economic incentives, or maybe before I come to that, is that value chain is key, because it encompasses a lot of processes. I have a disadvantage to talk after my Policy Director Peter, because he has actually expounded so many things. So the main economic incentives across is actually a support. And a lot of information has been mentioned, including the innovations that have just been mentioned here. And the main incentive to us is support in terms of who are these actors. So when we talk about value chain, we are talking about very many issues. One, we talk about backward linkages and also forward linkages. But again, where is our competitiveness that requires this particular incentive? Where is our comparative advantage? Even as we talk about this cashew nut, have we done comparative analysis? I've heard so many people talking about Tanzania being ahead of us, but where is their comparative advantage that we have? Secondly, the economic incentive that is there are these the county governments? Where is their priorities? We have talked about the constitution, which also embraces public participation. Do we really take seriously public participation? Because we know cashew nut, the home of cashew nut is Kwale. But is cashew nut as a value chain one of the priority value chains? Because we know when there is 3 value chains. So is cashew nuts one of them? That's number 1. Number 2, are we taking care of what our people are actually requesting? Because you know, when it comes to policy issues and support that is required by our citizens, we need to prioritize their needs. The second thing that I want to also emphasize is that when we talk about backward linkages, and I don't want to repeat what every speaker has said, but I just want to mention 3 things. We are talking about sustainability, we are talking about climate resilience. And I like the conversation that climate is a reality. What are the breeders saying about? Number 2, are we really focusing our policies in terms of enhancing resilience? Because when we talk about a value chain is a lot. And resilience is also a broader picture. We need to start from adaptation or adaptability, mitigation, and then we go to response. The reason why I'm talking about adaptation is you are preparing these farmers in case of an unexpected event. But now, if the event is there, how are they mitigating them? And now, in the event occurring, what is the response mechanisms in terms of coping and also recovering? And we are not talking about climate in terms of the agro-based. We need to talk about climate as part of sustainability across. Even the industrial are also facing some shocks. So we need to prepare ourselves on that. These cashew nuts is a gold, which we need to actually take it very seriously, the way AFA has taken it seriously. And I want to conclude by saying KIPRA is part of all the initiatives across the country. We participate in county integrated development. We support the counties. And we also support the counties even to implement what we have actually found out. Someone talked about evidence. It is our responsibility as KIPRA to provide those evidence, because we cannot drive the economy of this country without proper information. Someone has also talked about there is available information. Data is there. But the question is, are we using that data so that we can address the problems based on evidence? And I want to say thank you so much, and may God bless you.
Thank you, Daktari. That was a powerful, insightful, and we've learned a lot from that. Let me turn to Professor. And at times when you're addressing professors, you have to be very careful on the choice of your words. So, kwa taadhima na unyenyekevu, naomba, Professor, we want you to take us through on sustainable production practices that will offer the greatest potential impact, and also integrate that with environmental sustainability to have a balanced productivity goals.
Good evening, everyone, both men and women, young and old, middle age, and the youngest, whom we call the Gen Zs in the room. Good evening once more. My name is Hilda Ongayo from Pwan University, and I'm here to present the university from Pwan University, in the sense that we actually specialize in the field of environmental science, and the environment is where we grow our crops. So I really want to appreciate being invited here to be able to share on what is sustainability when it comes to growing cashew nuts. And the best practices, as the question is, maybe disadvantage that I'm the last one to be called upon to talk about sustainability, because since yesterday we've been talking about sustainability, we've been talking about environment, and the various practices that are being carried out by farmers have all been mentioned. So from a learning institution, I think I'll just zero in a few and maybe explain how we are able to pick the best practice among the many that have been mentioned. But just to echo them, one of the practices that has been mentioned by the presenters has been agroforestry. The second one has been diversification. The third one has been soil amendment, among many. We've even, there's also one who mentioned about water management, especially during the young stages of the crop. So those are all best practices. But here, I have to answer that or share with you this particular point, which is the best practice when we look at it from the sustainable perspective. And I want just to say that when it comes to choosing the best practice, we don't just say that this is the best practice. I always think of context specific, because the farmers don't come from a homogeneous environment. They come from different environmental perspective or ecosystem. And therefore you cannot just recommend one. They are all good, but based on how they perceive it and from what context. So normally the best approach to use to say that this is the best practice, engage the farmer. And my experience has shown me that we have this approach called farmers' field schools. Converge the farmers, carry out the different approaches. You've had one of the panelists mentioning about indigenous knowledge. We don't leave out indigenous knowledge when we are talking about the best practice. So we engage the farmers, we do the brainstorming. They will identify the practices that they carry out. We come in with the science, with the best practices that we think, and then we lay them out on the ground, specified sites, so that at the end of the day, through observations, through data collection, analysis. We do it together so that at the end of the day, we select the best. It is the farmers to select, and we encourage them. But we play the role of a facilitator. That is the way I would want to put it. For instance, currently we are doing the intercropping using the cashew nut trees in Kilifi with some farmer field schools. So what we have done, we have selected the farmers, there are around 10 of them, and then they did the selection of the different vegetables that they can grow, and we prepared the land around the trees, that's the cashew nut trees. They have planted those vegetables, and we have actually planted them using different organic manure. So it is in the process of observing. We have done 2 trials. We are in the 3rd one, so that at the end of the day, we shall see how the cashew nut is performing and which vegetable can actually perform well under the canopy. Then we shall move on to test the legumes and see which is the best legume that performs well. Why are we doing this? Because we are talking about value in cashew nut production. We don't just rely on cashew nut alone. The farmer also needs what comes out of it, using the other crops that they've intercropped with this particular cashew nut, so that at the end of the day, there is value for their labor and the time they have spent in it. So that is one way I would say that let us not choose for the farmers, but let us work together to choose the best practice based on the context specific where the farmers are in Kwale, in Kilifi, in Lamu. They all come from different ecological systems. Maybe they may have one common thing, maybe the soils are more sandy, but not all. If you go to Kilifi, you go to Chonyi, I think you know Chonyi, the soil are not sandy, it is clay. But if you go down to, on your way to Malindi, you'll find that we have sandy soils. And once you go hinterlands into Malindi, you'll find the soils are even a bit loamy. So we carry out experiments to do a comparative analysis to choose the best option. Now, the next question was on what are the best ways that we can actually, let me check at it. Sorry. Just to refer back to the question was the environmental sustainable ways that we can balance the production and ensure that the environment is taken care of. Here I want to talk about, again, it has been mentioned by most of the panelists, the different ways that we can engage in. Here I want to say again, we from Pwani University and all the researchers that come from that particular area, again, we use various approaches. And the most important approach is, again, the participatory approach, which I think the first speaker mentioned about in the presentation, that is Peter. The participatory approach, again, is about mobilizing the farmers, bringing them together, carrying out, we call it a transect work, to identify how the crops are performing in that particular area, the status of the cashew nuts, how they are, so that by the time we come in an intervention, we know where we are coming, which point we are entering, so that we don't just come in to advise the farmers, but from a research perspective, we choose where to enter together with the farmers. An example that we want to share also is, we have mentioned a number of products, value-added products of cashew nut. We've talked, and most of the presentations have been on the cashew nut itself. And I think there were 1 or 2 who mentioned about the fruit, the apple, where we have the juice. From a research perspective, we are talking about, there is, when I look at this, why invest in cashew? The 3rd point. It is talking about untapped opportunities in a cashew nut. And as an institution, we are focusing on those untapped opportunities. Currently, we are working with the CBOs in Kilifi to see where can we come in. Not to repeat what already other organizations are doing, but think of this cashew nut. What are the parts? So we use the system thinking. we come in to analyze the cashew nut plant or crop. What are the products out of the cashew nut? We start first by the fruit itself. We have the nut. We have the apple. We have the bark. We have the tree itself. Now, what we are doing currently as we speak, as I'm seated here, we are looking at what has not been tapped. And this is the stem or the mature tree that you find most of the farmers feel that it is not really producing or it is time for it to be cut down. We want to encourage the farmers not to really go into deforestation, but see how we can actually use this bark in adding value to the products that they have. Studies have shown from other countries, Brazil included, that we have this liquid that comes from the exudent, that comes from the bark. For farmers who have interacted with the cashew nut, when you cut the tree, there is some exudent that comes out of it, isn't it? The liquid. That liquid is important. And as researchers, we want to zero in to see how can we use this particular liquid, because other countries have done it. Because it is known to have some emulsification properties where it can be used in gelling some liquids and also in gelling and also improving the types of products that we want to use in pharmaceutical, solidifying them. So we are actually working with the community to see how we can be able to diversify the various products that we have in it, we get from the cashew nut. Apart from just the cashew nut itself, we want to see how we can use the bark to extract this particular exudent and be able to promote it among the farmers. Because once they discover it is working and the market is there and it is actually attracting so much, then the farmers will grow more trees, because they not only rely on the nut itself alone or on the flower itself, the apple itself alone, but now they have opportunity to actually use the mature over 10-year cashew nut trees to actually generate or produce an extra innovation or a product that can actually improve their lives, add money into their pockets, and be better off than the way they are with having the tree that is old and they're asking themselves, what do I do with this tree? Apart from the other ways that you have been shared, they have shared with you about pruning and all the others that have been mentioned. I don't want to mention them. We want to see where do we come in as Pan University, because we believe that innovation is also the way to go for farmers. I think I've combined the two questions.
Thank you, Professor. Did we know that exudate can be obtained from the bark of the trees? Leo nimesema tunasoma. How sio? We are coming out here better selves. Now, we almost, we 2 minutes past the timing. However, in just about a minute or so, I would want Dr. Michael, because you did speak here, to tell us how agroforestry and climate smart practices can enhance resilience, and what role can ecosystem-based approaches play, especially in long-term sustainability. In just under a minute, please.
Thank you. Thank you. Basically, what I would want to say is that we all came to planet Earth and found everything doing very well. Many of the homes we were staying in, one time they were forests. They were wooded woodlands. So we came in, cleared trees, planted crops, built houses, and used the material from what we were clearing to build our houses and to even trade. So basically, climate resilience agriculture is doing something which is in line with nature. It's trying to replace back what was there before. So it's trying to imitate the best way we can do nature. My professor said here, NPS, nature-based solutions, climate smart agriculture. All these go hand in hand because we realize that when we talk about incorporating trees or diversification, it's trying to improve the soil to provide to do its best by providing plant growth, by ensuring that the controlling floods, because when the roots are in the soil, they increase infiltration. The trees provide shade and shelter. They also provide fruits, both for humans and for wild animals and for birds, increasing biodiversity. At the end of the day, we find we have kind of a circular economy whereby nothing goes into waste. What you think is going to waste is used by the other part of the biodiversity or the environment. So we're having a living environment, not a dead environment. We will not have garbage any longer. We will not have those diseases and pests. They will be controlled in nature in its own pests. It's like when you go to the game park, you find they are all wild animals. Others eating on others, others feeding on grass, but you will not find anything rotting. Vultures come in and take what was dead. So they have cleaned the environment for us. The same thing to us. My parting shot, Mr. Moderator, is that the speaker from LAM was very passionate to me. Let's practice, let's live the truth and be truthful. From this workshop, it's good to inform those who did not come. It's good to inform our neighbors, our family members. And at the end of the day, we spread the gospel. And then finally, from my side, is that there are many good things we are learning, but one of the things I like most is that let farmers ask their neighbors. If you don't know, please ask. When you get sick, we'll go to hospital. Ask, which variety can I plant here? If you can't get an answer, go to the experts. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. You've taken 3 minutes. So I would want now to beseech Mr. Peter to be in 1 minute. And it's quite, we're still following on resilience and sustainability. And now I'm coming to you from the policy perspective, and I want you to give us the policy reforms that are needed to strengthen sustainability. And as you do that, then how is it that the government can better coordinate stakeholders across the value chains?
Thank you, moderator. We are looking at developing frameworks that would help also benefit from the climate-related funds, climate fund, as a way of also helping build farmers' resilience. This would also be a source of additional financing for the cashew value chain. We know cashew in itself would serve as a good agroforestry tree, but it can only be positioned through a clear policy reform. What we are also looking at is the issue of ensuring that at all given time we address the living bit of the soil. For example, we are in the effort of coming up with a clear policy framework that before you add any nutrient, in particular the inorganic, undertake an analysis of the soil so that you know exactly what you are adding to the soil. And frequently do analysis to understand what your environment is about. Now, when you look at the other policy areas that we are keen on is on financing of the agri-industry. We have issues of access to credit, and we are saying that we need to have a clear credit framework. When you talk about production, you cannot be able to handle credit to production the same way you are handling credit to agro-processing, because production would require different terms. The production would require much more affordable credit as opposed to agro-processing. And you realize there's quite a bit of institutions providing credit that are avoiding giving credit to production. In this area, we are thinking in terms of enhancing credit guarantee for purposes of making sure that farmers access more and more credit for production. Those, I think, are the key reform areas that we are looking at in terms of enhancing resilience and ensuring that farmers sustainably produce.
Thank you, Peter. Let's give our panelists a round of applause. Hiyo haitoshi, hiyo haitoshi. Kwani mnafikiria kusimama hapa mbele ni rahisi? Na hiyo material yote tumepewa? Please, let's do it in a worthwhile way. Still, I have a feeling like it's not complete. Let's do it this way, my way, my way. We put our hands. There's no clapping. Okay? Let's do it. Let's do it. One last time.
Kuna watu ndio wanaamka. All right, ladies and gentlemen, just before the chair just wraps this up, can I see kuna swali? Someone with a burning question directly? I can Samahani, ilikuwa imekufa, unajua sasa. Sitaki unipige.
Thank you very much. I'm Nyaga Mrs. from Embu County. My question is, because you have been taught so much about the cashew nut, I am also privileged to be in this meeting, because from now, the ones I had planted in my house, in my shamba, they were only for enjoying. But now I have known I can make money, and it is my request, humble request, even after we are here, we shall follow with watulete mingi ya kubara na kumobilize. Now my question was this. We have been taught so much, but I want to know the content, the nutritional value of cashew nuts. Because when we are doing mobilizing, when we are mobilizing the farmers, at least we do teach them what do they gain when they get this. Like maybe soya beans, we tell them there is no acidity in these beans. It is very rich in iron. So about the cashew nut, because we are talking about the market, what is the nutritional value? Thank you.
Unajua hapa hata kuna mtaalamu ananiambia hiyo nitakujibu, lakini wacha kwanza tuipeleke pale. Kwa hivyo wewe anza kumpatia hayo majibu kwamba haezi zeeka, mambo kama yale. You know the benefits, eh? Chair, wacha tuanze ujibu hayo, lakini naomba tafadhali tukijibu ile kwa dakika moja tu anaanza tafadhali, twende.
Yes. Wacha nianze kwa kujibu swali ambao limeulizwa, something about macadamia and avocado with enforcement of restriction in harvesting. I'll start with avocado na kwa nini inafanyika hivyo. Ni kuwa, and I'll give you a small brief so that we get an understanding of that. Traditionally, avocado used to be grown in central part of the islands, Murang'a, Kirinyaga, Kiambu, Nyeri, and the rest, which is relatively the same climate. When avocado was grown outside the traditional growing zone, and we are talking of west of Rift Valley, tukapata kuwa, it was coming out differently. The flowering was coming out at a different time. And the more it is moved from one traditional growing zone to another, inakuwa na adaptability yake. Now, why the ban is normally enforced ni to ensure the fruits get to maturity. The same case for macadamia. But now, moving this crop from the traditional growing zone to other areas, what we may need to do is a review of our policies and the regulations to ensure staggered harvesting across the country without necessarily enforcing a closure or a ban. So, feel satisfied that tukiweka korosho in different areas, we will not necessarily have to close the windows for harvesting unless we have to do that to safeguard on the industry.
All right. Thank you so much for that. I think the next questions were to Professor, or yeah, ilikuwa direct to you. Haya, twende. Mpatie hicho kipaza sauti kingine. I think hajawasha hiyo. Haya, twende.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. The question was the extraction of the sap or exudent from the cashew nut tree.
Yes.
Yes, this is something that we really want to test out, and it is our desire that we make the farmers to realize that cashew nut is not just about the nut alone. And therefore, the way we are cutting the back, we don't go to the, the tree has layers. There's a layer that you reach. I wish I could show you practically. There's a layer that we reach, you can remove the back and it does not dry.
Haya. Kwa hivyo hapa kuna teknolojia kidogo, usiende ukate yote. Kuna pahali. Lakini wewe sasa, kwa sababu unaona uko na 1-2 pasta, naomba professor umpatie tu 1 minute ya ile kabla tukishamaliza hapa muonane, si ndio? Ndio usiende kukata mti ukauke. Unaelewa? Hata mimi tunatunza hapo kidogo. Haya, kulikuwa na ile jambo lingine la council. I think it was a council or something on policy. Please, if you could address him. Nikuwasha haijawashwa. Oh, the battery is failing. Haya. Pate ule jamaa.
There is a ban on the battery. Yeah, just to add on to the story of the ban.
Yes.
The ban is instituted as a deliberate action to address a certain problem. For example, what happens particularly with a crop like avocado? If there's no ban, we have some unscrupulous traders. They will harvest immature avocado, which they take to the market and clearly label that this is from Kenya. And when you place immature avocado in the market, they don't ripen. Then they work on the reputation of the products from Kenya. So they end up not being picked from the market. And that is a big problem in terms of marketing. So those are some of the challenges which ensure that a ban is instituted. Not that it is put for no good reason. We don't think there will be a ban in the case of cashew if there is no problem. But when there is an issue and that is one of the measures to be instituted, then most of the time it will be considered, but also in the normal process, there will be a lot of consultation between the industry and the government before the action is taken. The issue of the council, and this is one of the key way forward that we need to go home with. This is being considered within the framework of the strategy within the industry. The strategy being developed to help this industry grow. One of the key action areas is to develop a clear mechanism for engagement in the sector by all stakeholders. And this now also touches on the question of stakeholder coordination. How are we engaging with the stakeholders? The stakeholder coordination has become part and key parcel of the processes that we undertake. One of the main way of ensuring we do proper stakeholder coordination is to promote and encourage farmers to belong to organizations. Once you belong to organizations, then we are able to reach you better, particularly through your leadership. But at the same time, working along the value chain enhances bringing together the players along the particular value chains, and particularly if each of the segment players belong to certain organization that they would wish to work within. Within the government itself, we are working within what we call a one government approach, where we have sector ministries, sector-related issues are handled within a given framework to ensure that we address the issues. But also, the MC in general, we have changed the approach to a food systems approach, an agri-systems approach, where we know that not single institution would be able to address issues within the sector. So at any given time, we must have all the players within the range of their segment that they undertake the activities they do. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Kuna ule jamaa Mswahili ambaye aliuliza, ametoka Mombasa, akasema kuna zingine wanapeleka wanaambiwa ni mbaya kwa sababu zijiku zina mafuta hivi, mambo kama yale, si ndio? Haya, who can help us with that question? But actually, unajua pia, please go ahead, tumjibu.
Okay, alikuwa ameuliza kama hiyo ni ugonjwa na inasababishwa na nini. Ndio ni ugonjwa, na mkorosho ina magonjwa mengi. Mara nyingi kuna wadudu ambao wanatoboa zile nuts zikiwa changa. Sijui kama tumeona vile. Unajua unaambiwa ukitaka kujua mmea uwe rafiki ya huo mmea. Lakini mara nyingi huwa tunauona kwa mbali, tunaupungia mkono. So mara nyingi wadudu wadogo wadogo wameshikilia pale wakitoboa, alafu baadaye mvua ikipita wakikungutwa chini. Sasa because ile nut development inaendelea, and part of nut development kuna yale ile mafuta ambayo huwa yako kwa yale maganda ya korosho, huwa pia ni part of the process of development. Ndio maana unaona yanapata mwanya, sasa yanatoka nje, baadaye korosho inakuwa nyeusi ambayo haiwezi nunulika, na zingine huwa zinakauka kabisa baada ya mvua nyingi kupita.
Okay. Asante sana. There is just one lady, nilimwambia ngoje. Haya, swali lako ni kwa nani? Kwa Stella. Haya, muulize direct, straight to the question.
Thank you for the chance. I'm representing Danisa farmers because I'm a farmer there. With this issue of a pest, there's a pest which usually cuts a tree at night. In the morning, actually it cuts the cashew nut trees mostly, the young which are 1 year, 2 years old. And it is discouraging to farmers that we are no longer interested in doing cashew nuts. How do we control it? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that question. That's very common. The mdudu is called a stem girdler. Huwa anakata kama msumeno. Round kabisa, anaangusha mti kabisa. Okay, we are there's research which is ongoing. Calro with another institution called Kenya Biologists. They are based in Malindi. We are developing a pheromone because those wadudus walk male and female. Wanatembeaga kama couple. Na kuna mwingine huwa ana supervise mwenzake wakati anakata. So huyo ambaye ana supervise mwenzake anakata, tunataka kumattract attract na hiyo pheromone. So akiingia hapo, because there'll be no, atafikiria ni the female who is going to work, kumbe tuna deal naye. So with that we'll be able to reduce the population of those wadudus. Also other research is ongoing. So thank you very much. We are working on it and it's a concern of farmers. Thank you.
Huyu anafaa kuombewa divorce kabisa kwende kabisa. Kuja hapa mbio tusaidie hawa benefits na usiongee chochote kingine. Haya twende.
From your permission, please. I know I'm not part of the
permission granted.
Thank you. So, what are the benefits of cashew nuts? Number one, there is something called LDL. LDL is low density lipoprotein. That is bad fats. Hiyo ndio inaletanga ugonjwa wa moyo. Okay? When you eat cashew nuts, it will give you good cholesterol, which is HDL, high density lipoprotein. Inachukua ile bad fat, inapeleka kwa liver, which is figo, inakatakata, inamaliza. So those with issues of the heart, please, it is recommended you eat cashew nuts. But Professor, you'll agree with me, in moderation. Usikule sana. So in moderation, like 3-4 per day. The other benefits, cashew nut will give you magnesium. Magnesium is good for your muscles. Walking, miguu, that is very important. Copper in uptake of oxygen in red blood cells. And then zinc helps you in immune system. Thank you.
Ujamaa bana. Asante sana. The only thing, usikule gorogoro tatu kwa per day, ndio hiyo. I think, thank you so much. Panelists, if you don't mind, please step forward a few steps up because we want to take a quick picture for you. Photographer, you should be here by now so that we're able to do the asanteni sana. Chair, nimechukua ushukani ndio niweze kumaliza. It's 5 on the dot na lazima tumalizie hapo. But thank you so much for the good work. Haya, naomba tafadhali situkae ni kama wale watu, unajua itenda in front of the paper. So lazima in a way ikae na tuangalie ule jamaa. Asante sana. In the house we have some very special guests. Na naomba director uje hapa. It's already 5 o'clock. Kwa hivyo ndio tuweze kuifanya very fast to acknowledge our guest. Tufunge chapter. Sawa sawa? Haya, tafadhali karibu sana ndio uweze kutupeleka pale pengine. Karibu.
Good afternoon. Yeah, so I think mine is just simple. I want just to take this special moment and welcome one of our guests who have just arrived. If I don't do this, I think I'll not be doing good, but I want to invite the CEC for Lamu. You know, yesterday we had the opening sessions, we had the chief guest, we had all the other guests who were invited, and they gave their bit of a short speech and a vision for this industry within the country. So I will not have done you good if you have arrived and I have not given you a chance to give us your words of wisdom. Karibu, Bwana Chief Officer, maybe na tumkaribishe akija. Huyu ni one of the chief officers ambaye is very simple. You walk to his office, he tells you, what do you want me to do? This is Bwana Gishu. Karibu and say something on behalf of Lamu County. Thank you. In 5 minutes or less.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. All protocols observed because I don't know who are in the house. My name is James Gichu. I'm the CEC Agriculture Lamu County. Apologies, I was to be with you here as from yesterday, but unfortunately we were waiting for our president. He was to visit Lamu today, and good luck, he postponed. So I saw it wise to come and catch up with you, because in Lamu County, we give cashew nut a priority. It is one of our value chain, both in the CIDP, both in the World Bank funded programs. So we really, really value cashew nut. As a county, we are privileged to have FPOs who are even processing cashew nut. And I want to report, indeed, there is market for cashew nut. We have insufficient supply of raw materials. So in Lamu County government, we prioritize upscaling production, the cashew nut. We even have a budget. We buy seedlings, and I also want to appreciate AFA. They have been assisting us with seedlings for so many, many years. And now we have the introduction of the EFF, Empowering Farmer Foundation, who just came to our aid last year, and they have promised to set up standard nurseries. I heard here we need to have standard nurseries. This is because when we get our seedlings from Caro, and I'm not going to run away from you, but it is good to report that during transportation, these seedlings acquire a lot of stress, and most of the time the survival rate is very low. So in that case, we have started coming up with nurseries within our localities so that we can produce standard seedlings within the locality, and farmers can access them without much ease. In that case, we have a target as a Lamu County government. Last time we were in Malindi, and we say that we should not be talking of our potential. We should actually actualize our potential. Our target this year is to put up 70,000 seedlings. That is our target. And through the assistance of GIZ, we were promised to get 50,000 seedlings. We have an FPU under the name Lamu Cashew Nut Processors. It is transited from an CBU. It was called New Hope. And they are really doing good. We even boosted them with some small machine. They are also doing processing. And now we have the introduction of the Equatorial Nuts, who are setting up a standard factory there to process our cashew nuts. So we want to tell people from Kilifi, Kwale, and Tharaka Nithi, we want those cashew nuts to be brought to Lamu. We process them. It is the corridor. We can export them to other countries because we want to increase export and reduce imports. With those many, many, many remarks, I say thank you, and I'm happy to be with you here. Thank you so much.
Asante sana waziri, we appreciate you. Wale wapi yule mkulima mwenzangu wa Lamu ambayo tunataka kuremix, nimeitisha director ndio tupatie mwenye ako karibu sana na ile ofisi, unajua. Kwa hivyo waziri, naomba uje hapa upokee on behalf of the waziri mwenzangu mwingine on behalf of, kwa sababu hii imetoka Lamu. Huyu ni wako, huyu ni mkulima wako, huyu unamjua sana eh? Huyu ndiye amekuwa akikulisha korosho kule, zake ni organic. Sawa sawa. Kwa hivyo wacha tupatie waziri ndio aweze kufikisha. Director amesema unajua labda atakuwa kwa ndege, kwa hivyo itakuwa haraka. Haya. Makofi tafadhali akija. Naomba tafadhali, kuna picha mbili. Hii ni fake. Wacha tuchukue ile kwanza original. Ile kubwa alafu upige nyingine. Sawa sawa. Haya, sawa sawa. Iko tayari? Iko tayari? Haya, tucheke. Sawa. Haya, wacha tumwachie hata hii fake pia. Uko tayari? Uko tayari tafadhali? Waziri ako na muda. Uko tayari? Sasa piga. Piga, ushapiga. Unaona yako ni fake, hata unapika kwa umeketi. Haya, asante sana. Haya. Unataka kumwambia pia kitu? Haya, neno.
Samahani. Pale nilikosea nikasema bwana governor, kumbe ni nana governor. Hii ni zawadi ya nana governor. Nikisema nana yamaanisha mwanamke. Nilisema bwana, niliteleza nikasema bwana governor. Kwa hivyo ni nana governor, utamwambia hiyo ni zawadi imetoka Lamu County kisiwani Amu. Na Waswahili wasema katiti ni tamu. Asante.
Wameanza kusema maneno sijui, najua kwangu nitaanza kujijibu vingine, sijui. Hata siwezi rudia. Asanteni sana. We are very happy. Nana atapata, si ndio? Nana governor. Leo Kiswahili tutakipata, si ndio? Now, ladies and gentlemen, very happy that we have come to the end of this. I was timing us to end at 5. It's 5:10. Kwa hivyo, kama kawaida kuna chai. Tuende pale, tupitie pale, tupate chai. Na kuna announcement ingine pale, naomba director aje hapa very fast ndio tuweze kujua ni yapi haya, alafu tufunge.
So thank you very much. I think we are keeping strong, sindio? And we have one more to go tomorrow, sindio? At least 2 are gone, 1 to go. So for tomorrow, I just want to say that we'll start again as usual at 8:30. And tomorrow will be a very interesting session. Usije ukasema because it is Friday or Thursday or towards the end, let me go. You'll miss out. I just want to tell you in advance, tomorrow is a climax. Sivo? So let's come early. Let's be prepared. Tomorrow kuna mambo mengi mazuri. Hata ukiangalia kwa program. Si unaangalia? Kuna mambo ingine. We have another team that was going on, and I know you know we also had the Innovation Challenge. I must say that you must have heard about it, and a lot is happening behind the what? The scene. So I want just to tell you and encourage you, let's all come here tomorrow. Na tuje wote, na tumalize huu mkutano kwa mambo, kwa hali ya juu. Thank you very much.
Asante sana. Yeah. Na kwa sababu tuko na pastor hapa karibu, pastor naomba ukuje hapa. Unajua